Awesome. We've got a couple other folks who have introduced themselves. I'm going to encourage you to look through there and see where everyone's coming in from. Looks like we've got folks from everywhere, which is great. So I'm going to get started. We'll let folks continue to join as they have time today. I'm really grateful for everyone for joining us this afternoon for our Solar United Neighbors April volunteer training, and we'll hop right into it. Continue to introduce yourselves on the chat feature. I'm just going to give you a lay of the land of what to expect. This shouldn't take the full hour, but what you can expect for us to do during this time. We're going to do introductions. As you see, feel free to introduce yourself on the chat feature, and I'll introduce myself. We'll talk about who Solar United Neighbors is, what we do, and then talk about the different opportunities that you can do as a volunteer for Solar United Neighbors. And then the next steps on how to continue that involvement and where to go from here. Just some logistics so everyone's aware. You're more than welcome to ask questions throughout the webinar. I'll probably answer most of them towards the end, just so you're aware, but you're welcome to add them in there, and I'll scroll through and make sure that we get everyone covered. So feel free to type your questions into the chat feature and I'll get to those. If you're having any troubles, you can feel free to post those in the chat or reach out to my email and we'll try to connect you. We're also recording this just so you're aware, and we'll send it out to folks afterwards so that you can be connected to the resources and have this information to refer back on, as well as some folks who weren't able to attend. We'll send the webinar to them so that they can see that afterwards, just for everyone. So you're aware of that, but feel free to just put things in the chat feature for us to respond to. So introductions, my name's Alexis Miller. I'm an engagement specialist at Solar United Neighbors. I've been with the organization for almost a year, and I focus on 6 of our state programs as well as our volunteer opportunities for folks that are not located in one of our states that we have an on-the-ground program in. And then the other co-partner to our team right now is Annie. She's not able to be on the call today, but you'll see emails and things coming from her as well. She's the director of engagement and right now is covering those other 6 states as well as our national programs. And then we're in the process of hiring another person to be on our team. So a 3-person engagement team to help support you all in our engagement at Solar United Neighbors. I love working at Solar United Neighbors and love having the opportunity to really provide a tangible way for folks to be able to create an impact in their community through going solar or supporting solar. And it's been a really fun adventure. I love figuring out new ways for us to engage folks and build more solar in our communities. Just a little bit of information about Solar United Neighbors. We are a 501c3 nonprofit. We focus on education and technical assistance to people who are interested in investing in rooftop solar. And through that, we strive to be a consumer advocate and make sure that we're non-biased, providing installer neutral and financing neutral advice and support to folks. And then on the other side of that, also advocate for policies that support solar and make solar an option for everyone. So we strive to be a resource for folks who want to go solar, as well as be a resource for people who have gone solar to help continue to build that solar movement. So whether you've gone solar or you're interested in solar or you just support solar, really a hub for information around that and policy and movement building around solar. We're creating our solar community through listservs, which are online Google groups where you can communicate with folks that way, as well as events. We have a ton of in-person events, as well as online events that I'll go into more information about. As well as volunteer opportunities, which is obviously what we'll be talking a lot about today. And we do a lot of advocacy. Our mission is that we're a community of people building a new energy system with rooftop solar at the cornerstone. We help people to go solar, join together, and fight for their energy rights. And those 3 pillars we'll refer back to a lot of kind of our model of how we build the solar movement and build change in our communities. So these 3 pillars are kind of a self-fulfilling cycle, we like to say, where we help folks to go solar, and as more people go solar, we're able to help more people join together. And as more people join together, more people are able to fight for our energy rights, which helps to make more solar-friendly policies available, which helps more people to go solar and helps us to continue to build around that circle and continue to build that power that we have. But those are our three pillars that we focus on and how we engage and work with people in the community. So how we started, I'd love to do a poll here real quick and see who here actually has solar. I'm going to launch a poll, so I'd love for you to answer if you have solar, you're interested in doing it one day, maybe you have solar in the works for you, or you're not able to, but you support solar. Love to hear where folks are at on that spectrum. I'll give you a couple seconds to answer the poll. Thanks everyone for contributing. This is awesome. Give people like 10 more seconds to answer the poll. This is super cool. Thank you guys for contributing. Give people a couple more seconds. It looks like we got some more coming in. Awesome. I'm gonna end the poll and share it with everyone just so you guys can all see. We have kind of a mix of folks, people who have gone solar, who are interested in it, or people who aren't able to go solar but still support the solar movement, which really represents what the community that we try to represent and that we are a part of. So I love that. I'm gonna stop sharing the results and then get back to our story. As it looks like someone mentioned in the comments, talking more about community solar is also something we work on. So rooftop solar is a part of that, but also making sure there are solar friendly policies for everyone. So sometimes that does look like community solar or other options, but making sure there's a clean energy solar option for folks. That can kind of vary depending on where you're at and what your housing situation is or what the current policies are, but really over encompassing all of that is a part of it. So how we got started as Solar United Neighbors, this is a photo of our executive director, her son, and his friend, and they are kind of the inspiration and start to kicking off Solar United Neighbors. They watched the movie An Inconvenient Truth and were motivated to do something about it. And so Anya is our executive director. Her son came to her and said, "Mama, I want us to go solar as a family." And she kind of gave him a challenge, seeing kind of the difficulties of going solar on your own and the prices and things like that, and said, "Well, we'll go solar if you can get our whole neighborhood to go solar," kind of as a challenge she didn't think he'd be able to do. And he actually ended up going door to door and knocking on their neighbors and getting a group of folks to come together who wanted to go solar. And that started off our original Mount Pleasant Solar Cooperative. You can see there, which is located in DC, and they ended up all going solar together, and that started to be the base of our model for how we help folks to go solar, which I'll dig into a little bit more. But as Anya was approached by other communities in DC and then eventually throughout the nation of folks who wanted to do the same thing, it turned into a full organization like we are now, and that was over 10 years ago, and we're continuing to build that movement. So what we do in our states. These are our states right now that we have on the ground programs, but we do work nationwide with folks. So this is just where we have states on the boots on the ground that are doing some of our co-op work, but we're able to support folks through going solar as well as through advocacy and policy work and volunteer opportunities throughout the nation. But what we do in our state programs specifically, we have a state director in each of those states that helps to implement these solar co-ops where community members come together and go solar in a group. So they're able to leverage the power of bulk purchasing while still signing their own contract, putting the solar on their personal property or roof or whatever makes sense for them. But they're also able to have a state director who's there to be that unbiased resource that we mentioned, to be able to guide folks through going solar and be able to go solar with their community, which helps to continue to build that solar movement. We do a lot of advocacy work in each of our states as well as nationally, and so the state directors play a big part in that, as well as our volunteers and folks that are in our state programs there, so helping to continue to make sure that we have solar friendly policies, like I mentioned, so more folks can go solar. If they're interested, the opportunity is there for them, and there is solar friendly policies everywhere is what we work on through that. And then we do a lot of different events that just are education events. So one of our biggest ones is in every state, we have a keystone event every year called our Solar Congresses. And those are one-day big conference events that maybe some folks have been on here. I've been to those in the past. They're really fun events where we bring together solar supporters throughout the state. You're able to network with other folks who are of a similar mindset as you, as well as learn everything from the basics of Solar 101 to advanced topics to seeing EVs and doing test drives with folks' EVs or other solar activities. It's a really fun day that really helps to broaden education for folks through that, as well as we do information sessions and tons of other events throughout our states. And on a national level, we have several programs that are throughout all of the states, one of them being the Sun Patch program, which is our youth education program, which is a volunteer opportunity that folks can help with, where we have a toolkit basically where folks can get their either Girl Scout patch, or if they're just wanting to get it without being a part of a troop, they're more than welcome to as well. It guides them through learning about solar energy from a youth perspective, and it's a really cool way for them to see more solar in their community and see different ways that they can use solar in their lives. So it's a really fun program. Then we have our Brews from the Sun competition, which is kind of a way for us to do business engagement with solar powered businesses. So highlighting folks who have gone solar, and in this specific instance, highlighting breweries. It's a voting competition where we choose and crown America's favorite solar powered brewery. So that's a fun competition. We're not doing it for 2020, but we did in 2018, 2019. You can see the folks from the previous competitions if you go to brewsfromthesun.org. But we're continuing to always do different business engagement ways for us to highlight solar powered businesses throughout the nation. Then our really big event that we do every year in October is called the National Solar Tour. That happens in October every year. And for those of you who have gone solar, it's a great way for you to be able to show off your solar powered home or business, nonprofit. You haven't gone solar, you just support solar, you want to learn more. It's a great way for you to go and see solar in action. So it's a weekend in October where folks open their solar powered home, business, nonprofit, school to show others their solar system basically, and to really put a face to solar. It's really helpful for folks to be able to see solar in action and ask questions to someone who has gone through the process. So it's a really fun, interactive way for people to learn more about solar and continue to build awareness about solar and show folks that it's possible and kind of be a resource for others in the community about that. So we do that every October, and we do a lot of volunteer opportunities around that too. So it's a really fun event that we have coming up in October. The impact of Solar United Neighbors, these are just some of the numbers, and these are growing constantly. So just a snapshot in time, but you can see last year on the National Solar Tour, we had over 850 solar open houses, which is amazing. We had them all throughout the nation. We were missing 2 states, I want to say, out of the 50 states, which is unfortunate. So this year we're hoping to get to all 50 states, and we'd love to have folks help with that. We've had over 1,800 youth educated through the Sun Patch program, and especially during this time where folks are looking for things to do at home. We'll talk about this a little bit later, but I've had a ton of folks continue to finish it during that time. So we've had a lot of movement on that as well. Over 200 solar co-ops have been implemented throughout our state programs, and 4,579 homes that have gone solar through those programs, and a whole lot of pounds of lifetime CO2 at offset, and over 600 jobs created through these co-ops that we've done. Oh, excuse me. So before we kick off into our volunteer opportunities, I just want to throw out there so that everyone's aware that we do have a specific response going on right now to the coronavirus. I mentioned some of our in-person events that we typically do, and we do typically have a lot of in-person events, but right now we have switched to be completely online digital events for the time being. And that's the same for all of our volunteer opportunities. We're not encouraging folks in any way to go out and be out in public situations at all at this point. We'll talk about what our general normal opportunities are, and some of those do involve in-person things, but those are not things we're encouraging right now. We're just doing online for everything at this point. If you have any ideas of things that you think it would be great for us to do, feel free to put them in the chat box or send us an email at getinvolved@solarunitedneighbors.org. We're constantly looking for different ways to get involved with folks right now as we're all kind of navigating this new normal. So feel free to let us know if there's anything you think would be useful for the community or for your area, for yourself and your family. So let's dig into our volunteer opportunities. We divide them out into those 3 columns that I mentioned, our focus areas. So how can you help folks join together? How can you help folks go solar? And how can you fight for your energy rights? So we'll talk about those, and then we'll talk about specifically what you can do at home today, considering the current online situation. We have some opportunities and ways for you to be involved online. So what you can do in Join Together, this really involves events and then community organizing. So typically a lot of like canvassing, staffing a table at events, putting flyers out in the community and working with other community organizations. So connecting us with other folks that are like-minded or you think would be a good connection for us to help continuing to build the movement, as well as educating you through that Sun Patch program that I mentioned. Implementing that in your community is a really great way to help expand the reach. And then hosting or planning events, planning a movie screening, a postcard party, or a solar happy hour. Those can be done virtually at this point, and we'll talk more about a solar happy hour virtually as that's our April action. But once this crisis is over, those can also be done in person or a fun way for you to engage your community members in a larger conversation. Then what you can do fighting for your energy rights. There are some things in person that are not currently happening, but you can do in the future, as an example, attending in-person meetings with your state representatives, attending hearings, or attending press conferences. And then online advocacy actions, we do a lot of these regardless of Corona or not, are doing a lot of online actions that you can do and things that you can do from your home. And that can be signing a petition or writing an email or posting on social media, submitting a postcard in support of solar, or writing a letter to the editor, submitting public comment, and texting others to be able to let them know about a current campaign that we're working on. There's a ton of ways that you can do advocacy through online, and we actually do have upcoming webinars that will be specifically about advocacy, so we'll be sure to loop you all in on that, and feel free to let us know if there's specific things that you are interested in seeing in that. But we'll be doing some future webinars to train folks on how you can do lobbying specifically from your home during this time. And then what you can do with helping folks to go solar, and this is supporting a solar co-op, which is definitely available just if you are near a co-op that's open. So we can help let you know when those opportunities are available. It's a fun way to be able to help educate folks more about solar. You can spread the word about it. It's really about doing outreach and making sure people know about the co-op. So spreading the word through flyering, social media, tabling at local events, and helping to organize events. Right now, it's a lot of like spreading the word through online, social media, emailing, or sharing with different community groups you're a part of is really helpful with helping to spread the word about co-ops. If you have solar, you can share your story either through online. We have a website where you can share your story, and I'll share all the links for these things in the email afterwards, but we have a way you can share it online, as well as when we do our information sessions, you can be a solar ambassador and again, help put that face to solar and be there to answer questions and show like you were able to go solar, and really be an example to other folks as they're looking to start their solar journey. So we're doing information sessions currently all digitally, but you're welcome to still be an information, a solar ambassador and attend an information session and share that way via online. And that's a great way to help really spread your influence as you have gone solar and being able to spread the word about that. So what can you do specifically at home today? Here are some of the options. Again, I'll send out the links for all of these in the email afterwards, so don't worry about having to remember all of these. But we have a postcard campaign where you can just show your support for solar, whether you've gone solar or not. Going to ilovemy.solar is a website. It's kind of a tricky link. I'm always questioning that, but I promise if you type that in, it'll go to a website where you can actually complete a postcard that sends physical postcards to your representative showing your support for solar. You can share your solar story online, like I mentioned, as well as we are doing a virtual solar tour push that will be coming out in the next couple of days, where you can actually record a video of your solar system and sharing with folks, why did you go solar and what does your system look like, is a fun way for you to do an activity at home, kind of get a little creative. The Sun Patch is the youth program. You can do that with your kids at home. If you're stuck with your kids at home, we've had people who have done it, like grandparents who have done it with their grandkids via Skype. So that's kind of a fun way for you to get involved if you've got grandkids, if you work with like a youth group at all, a church youth group or a Girl Scout troop. It's a program that they can do completely from home. And then take action through advocacy actions. We have a lot online, as well as, like I mentioned, the monthly advocacy trainings that will be coming up that will teach you more about specific ways you can advocate. You can host a solar happy hour, which we'll talk more in depth about. You can connect online. We have those listservs that I mentioned in our Facebook groups. It's a great way for you to hop on there and say where you're from and connect with other folks that are a part of the solar movement in your area. So I'll send out the link so you can join those. We have them for each of the different states, so you can join those. And then upcoming events that we have, including a kids solar hour that we're planning, where kids can learn more about solar. We previously had a movie screening and we're looking to do another one of those. So if any of you guys attended that, you were familiar, but it was a really fun event, a fun way for folks to learn more about solar, and we did a Q&A after, which was a really fun way for people to get involved. And we're also looking to start a solar powered book club, so reading books more about the grid and our energy system and solar, and looking for volunteers to help be a part of that. So if you're interested, if you love reading books and want to be a part of helping to run that, please let me know. I think it'll be a fun way for us to all communicate and help to build this network of solar supporters. And then let's dig more into, like I mentioned, our specific action for April, which is a solar happy hour in relation to the No Shutoffs campaign. We have been having a specific ask for volunteers every month. That is something that you can do regardless of where you're located. So you can be in Florida, or you can be in Oregon or Alaska, it doesn't matter. And you can do this action, and it will help to support and build the solar movement in your specific community. So for April, our focus is on hosting a virtual solar happy hour, or if you are already going to a happy hour, you can incorporate this as part of your event that you're doing with your friends or family, colleagues, as well as you're welcome to show your support for the No Shutoffs campaign without holding a happy hour if you'd like, but it's a fun way to encourage your friends to be a part of the movement as well. So we'll dig into kind of how to plan a happy hour. We do have a toolkit all about this. If you go to solarunitedneighbors.org/volunteer, you can sign up. You can see our toolkit that goes into more depth about the tips and tricks on how to host a happy hour. And I'm happy to help anyone who has specific questions or wants to talk through what they should do for that. I'm totally open to that. And thank you to everyone who has signed up already to host a virtual happy hour. We're really excited about this. And I know it's an April action, but you're welcome to host it in May or June, whenever makes sense for you. But do you have a couple weeks left in April, and next week, with it being Earth Week, might be a fun way for you to celebrate that with the folks that you know. So the point of these solar happy hours is to share your support for the No Shutoffs campaign, which is basically asking leaders to put an end to utility shutoffs during this challenging time for folks. And depending on where you're at, different leaders have taken different stances, and different utilities have taken different stances. So it depends, but we want to have a concerted effort to make sure that there are no shutoffs happening during this time. energy is a basic human right, we believe, so making sure that everyone has access to energy during this time. And then as a second piece to that, making sure that we have an equitable and resilient energy system for the future. So making sure that we're able to really be prepared for future situations and crises, and building our system to be resilient to that in the future. So kind of both sides of that. You can see our coloring pages that we have there are part of that, and I'll go into more information about those. But let's talk about how you can host your own virtual solar happy hour. So the first step to that is just deciding a date and the platform you want to use. We're currently using Zoom, so you might be familiar with that. That's definitely an option. There's a free version that you can use and sign up for, and you can host events through that. So you're welcome to sign up for that. You can use Facebook, Google Hangouts, FaceTime, Skype, any sort of option that makes sense for you, and just kind of think about what your audience would most connect with and would be easiest for your people that you're inviting to it. We have a tip to use the grid view, which makes it more fun because then you can see everyone. This is like a event that we had as a staff, and it makes it fun when you can kind of pick out everyone while you're doing it. So I recommend using the grid view, whatever system you're using, if that's possible. Helps to make it a little bit more interactive for everyone. And then get to planning. So let us know if you picked a date. We can help you if you want to have an RSVP page online. We can help create that RSVP page for you. And also help to support you in any way that you need. And I'd love to be able to connect with you on your plans. So let us know if you planned it, when it's scheduled for, and what you're looking at doing. Then invite folks and continue to remind folks. We have just some reminders for 1 week out to remind people to come, and then get your drinks. We, as I mentioned, our Brews from the Sun competition. On that website, if you go to brewsfromthesun.org, we have a list of solar powered breweries. So it's a fun way for you to be able to support a solar-powered brewery and a local business if you have one near you. Of course, follow CDC recommendations and all your local recommendations right now for that. But if you're able to do drink pickup, we totally recommend supporting local businesses during this time if you are able to, and if that makes sense for what your community is recommending. And then plan the party details. So we have a few ideas of things you can do along with the No Shutoffs campaign. If you're interested in playing solar trivia, we have a fun game and a way online that you can do that. So feel free to reach out to me if you want the link for that, as well as if you're interested in doing solar bingo. We did that as a staff. It's kind of a fun activity, and it was a great way to kind of just have fun with folks. So do that, or just have a casual conversation. We have in our kit some question ideas and topic ideas around solar, so you can kind of have a solar powered discussion. And then enjoy your happy hour. So the No Shutoffs campaign, what we're asking folks to do is we have coloring pages that are specific to the No Shutoffs. So encouraging folks to print those out and have, while you're on your happy hour, everyone coloring their page that relates to No Shutoffs, and then having people take selfies with them, or taking like a group shot of everyone in with their little squares on the grid view to be able to post on social media with the hashtag No Shutoffs to show your support for this campaign. And it's just a fun way to kind of be interactive with everyone while you're socially distancing. So you can see that link is also online on our volunteer page. You're welcome to color these without hosting a happy hour as well if you would like, and post that on social media, as well as send me an email with the pics. I'd love to see how everyone's events go, and would love to see your pictures. We'll of course check the hashtag, but it'd be great to have you send them in to us as well. And we'd love to get a count of how many people attended your happy hour, just so we can track how many folks were involved with this. So have fun, enjoy it, but that's kind of the fun aspect to the No Shutoffs campaign that we want to encourage folks to do. And the next part is just basically what are your next steps and how can you get involved. You can sign up to host a happy hour. You can see a full list of our volunteer opportunities online at solarunitedneighbors.org/volunteer. I'll send out all this information again in our follow-up email. But I'll also connect you with your state director if you're in a state that we have a current program, or if you're not, I'll connect you with myself and we can talk about specific actions that you can take for current events or needs happening in your specific state. And then feel free to share with us any ideas of ways that you would like to get involved or that you think would be useful for your community in helping to build the solar movement specifically in your community. We really like to leverage the power of community members being the voice for what makes sense for their specific community. I have another kind of fun poll to see how folks would like to get involved. You're able to select multiple things, but I'd love to hear from folks what kind of things that you're interested in helping out with after kind of hearing a little bit more about that. If you'd like to check what different things you think sound fun to you or things you'd be interested in helping out with, that would be great. And I'll give you guys a couple seconds to do that. Awesome, thank you guys for submitting these. Awesome, this is great. I'll share with you guys so you guys can see what other folks are also interested in doing. Like I mentioned, we'll connect y'all with the different opportunities specific to your areas. But I was just curious to see what folks' thoughts were. It looks like a lot of people are interested in advocacy work and co-ops, as well as it looks like educating youth and outreach in the community are close behind. So if you put other, feel free to reach out to me with any ideas you have or things that you think make sense for your community. I'd love to hear them. And then that is like the main overview of what we do here at Solar United Neighbors and kind of different ideas of ways that you can be involved. I'd love to hear if any folks have any questions, feel free to ask them. We've got our volunteer email here is getinvolved@solarunitedneighbors.org, as well as our website, so you can see more information there. If you have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat box. And again, I'll be following up with an email with all the general information as well as some specific information to where you're located so we can connect you to the opportunities that work for your area. Great, Ron, I just saw you posted a virtual solar tour. I love that, and we've been looking at doing that. So I'll have to check. If you have solar, I'd love to have you be an example of doing that. We have just done like the YouTube version where you record a video and show it off, but we're just looking at being able to do a more interactive version, like you're mentioning on Zoom, where people can ask questions and you can show it off. Oh, awesome. You do have solar and EVs. Yeah, we'd love to show those off too. So that would be awesome. I think that's a really great idea, and we're definitely looking at doing that. So I'll reach out to you and see if maybe we can set something up. That's a great idea. Anyone else have any questions? It looks like someone has possibly raised their hand. I'm trying to see who you are. If you want to type it in, that works as well. Yeah, KD, do you want to type in your question that you have? Looks like opportunity for. Awesome. Bruce was saying he's willing to also do a solar open house. I agree. We're kind of looking at what that will look like in October with the National Solar Tour. So it's kind of a fun way for us to be able to do it virtually beforehand. Also allows us to do more like year-round solar tours. So I think it's a great way to get involved that way. I'm glad to hear that more people are interested in doing that, because that shows there would be folks willing to help me out with that. So I'll definitely reach out to you as well, Bruce, about that. Do you have any other questions or folks, any ideas anyone like to share? Thanks, Roger. I appreciate the support. We'll keep everyone looped in on that. And KD is saying, advise what are the economic advantages? And yeah, if you attend one of our information sessions, which are what our state directors lead, talking about solar specifically in each of the states. They can talk about the economic advantages, kind of the solar payback, and talk about it specifically in each state, because it does really vary depending on where you're at, on what the specific tax credits are for where you're at, what the payback period is. It's all very specific to where you are. So if you go to our page, solarunitedneighbors.org, we have general information on there, and you can also click on the different states. There's state-specific information on there, and there's also events where you can check out a information session there and get more information there, and state directors would be able to answer more specific questions about going solar, and specifically where you're located. Awesome. Any other folks have any questions or comments? Stephen mentioned, I'd like to show folks how to comfortably conserve energy before going solar so that it'd be less solar. I think that's great, and we definitely do talk with folks about that, on how to make sure you are being the most efficient that you can be before buying your solar system. Oh, and great. Bruce mentioned that he got a lot more value when he sold his system sold his house from having a solar system. That's really great, and we do have some studies on how you can get a higher value on your house from selling your house after having solar. If you go onto our website, some more information. It's great to hear anecdotally that also was the case for you, as we're trying to educate realtors and others on that as well, so that they can make that a selling point for folks when they're selling their solar houses. Do we support solar or electric car races? That is a question I do not know the answer to, but I like where you're going with that. I would have to ask one of our other staff on that, so I'll have to get back with you, Neil, on if we support solar or electric car races. Typically, we focus more on the house solar powered side of things, but I'd be happy to ask for you. Does anyone else have any questions here, comments before we wrap up? Awesome. Well, I'm grateful for everyone taking the time to come today. I'm really glad to hear that I'm not sure how to say your name. I'm sorry. It looks like Ung is saying that she's motivated to share her knowledge back to her community in Burma, which is really great. I believe you were helping with some projects in Colorado right now before you headed back to Burma. So it's great to have you here learning more about solar energy and bringing that. We really have to spread it everywhere, not just in the US. So I appreciate you saying that. And I'm thankful for you taking the time to meet with us today, and for everyone taking the time out of their afternoon to learn more about Solar United Neighbors and how you can volunteer with us. We'll be in touch with everyone after this. And again, I hope you all have a great afternoon. Hope everyone stays healthy, stays safe, and have a great afternoon and great rest of your week. Thank you all for being here.